Hey friends, what's up? Ash here, welcome back to Gents. Hope that you guys are doing well. Today I've got a subscriber's choice video where I asked you guys what are the best fragrance releases of 2024. And I have right here your choices. These are, according to your votes on my community tab, the top 10 best fragrance releases of the year. Designers. All of these are gonna be linked in the description below. Feel free to check them out down there. And I do have to say that I put this up just before the new Eros was announced. Eros Najim. So if that turns out to be amazing, then oops. But realistically, I don't think too many of us are gonna get our hands on that before the end of the year, so it's still good. Still counts. Thank you to everybody who commented, everybody that voted on these fragrances. If you want to be featured in a future video, check out the community tab. There's always a question up there where you can leave your answer or upvote somebody else's. And this does go roughly in order. So 10 up to number 1, with number 1 being the best according to how many votes it got. I say roughly because sorting YouTube comments actually is not possible to do by sorting by most upvoted. Yeah, but I looked through and tried my best. And of course, it could change as time goes on and more people upvote things, so be aware of that. Okay, all of that out of the way. Number 10 from Brendan Fry, 04. Tom Ford Eau d'Ombre Leather. I wanted to like ombre leather for so long, but the Eau de Parfum and Le Parfum have not done it. The warm vanilla and the new fragrance was exactly what I was looking for, and I got chills when I first smelled it. Now, I don't own this one yet. I can feel you judging me. I'm judging myself. I'm sorry. That's all I can say. I have failed you. I have failed my family. I have failed myself. There's nothing I can say to make this right. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry that I don't own Eau d'Ombre leather. But I did buy it. So when that comes in, I'll go ahead and I'll feature that on the channel. And I've actually heard conflicting things about this fragrance. Some people absolutely love it, and it did get some upvotes, obviously. It's here in the top 10. But yeah, some people love it. Some people thought it was disappointing compared to the other ones. But I think, you know, that actually speaks to the fragrance needing to exist. Because if it smelled just the exact same as the other fragrances, at that point, why even put it out, right? And putting something out in the line that is a little bit different, that's going to appeal to different people, like Brendan here, makes sense. So I'm looking forward to getting that one in. I do seem to slack on buying like the new Tom Fords when they first drop. I gotta stop doing that. So like I said, ordered that one, have it in soon. Please forgive me. Sumimasen. Moving up to number 9, and this one's kind of a tie. J. Nunez 0306 says Mont Blanc Legend Blue, super easy to wear. Also, Azzaro, the most wanted Eau de Toilette Intense Nice Lavender Bomb. Between these two, for me personally, I like Legend Blue a little bit more. Legend Blue is kind of similar to Percival, obviously similar to Legend Eau de Toilette and Eau de Parfum and Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce, so it's not really unique or anything, but it's done in a really pleasant way, very wearable, super versatile, cheap from discounters, a little bit more modern, slightly sweeter than like the original Legend. Just a really nice, easy wearing scent. And then the most wanted Eau de Toilette Intense Trash Atomizer. A Trashamizer. Oh, I hate it. I hate it so much. It's not a big deal at the end of the day. It's just one of those things where you spend, you know, $100+ on a new fragrance, you get it in and you're like, oh, let's see how it smells. Leaves a bad feeling for you. Just makes it feel cheap. A little bit similar to myself in a way, in the sense that it's just a very clean, easy wearing, once again, fragrance. A little bit sweet, as he said, a lot of lavender. And a fragrance that is, to be fair, very difficult to hate. Now, before we move to the next fragrance, guys, here are some codes you can use to save money across different websites. Be aware of those JOMASHOP codes. They are gonna be changing November 18th. And they only work within the JOMASHOP app. Then there are codes for Beauty House, Fragflex, the Perfume Box, Max Aroma, etc. Use those codes on those different websites to save more money than usual. Save it off their already discounted prices. Let's move on to number 8 from CMG, who says, YSL Myself is a banger release. He didn't specify, but I am assuming, since we're talking new fragrance releases of this year, that he means this one. the Le Parfum edition. And I do very much enjoy myself Le Parfum. I actually like the original myself quite a lot as well. That one, just one of my go-to at this point. Anytime fragrances. Basically, the original myself, you can wear that anywhere, any place, anytime. People are gonna love it. Now, myself Le Parfum is gonna be a little more interesting for a lot of people, myself included, actually. Like I said, I really like the original myself, and I would probably wear that one in more situations than this one. But as far as how it comes across to me, you know, grabbing my attention, this one does it a little bit more. It's a little bit darker, richer, bolder than the original myself. Has a nice vanilla sweetness to it as well. That smells perfect in fall and winter time. Oof, yeah, really good. Really good. Still carries over that white floral aspect from the original myself as well. So you still have that versatility, that complement factor. It's just, like I said, a little bit more geared toward the cooler months. Number 7, Tank721, who says, Mugler, Amen, Phantasm. So glad my favorite line is back. You and me both, brother. I am pumped that Amen is back. I can only hope that they go back to what they were doing before and give us an annual release. That's what I'm really hoping. As long as they put some effort in, right? I don't want an annual release where every year sucks, but I think that goes for every fragrance line, doesn't it? Yeah, I don't think anybody was ever like, oh, please give me a crappy fragrance this year, yeah. And there's so much to love about this. Yes, Amen coming back, that's huge, that's massive. But then the price that they give it to us for, full retail, 90 bucks, 60 bucks for a 50 ml? In today's day and age, that is unbelievably cheap. That's lower than pretty much any other designer brand out there that is a big name designer brand. And I guess you could argue Mugler isn't as big as it used to be, but whatever. Talking about within men's fragrances. Also really like how this one smells, similar to Pure Tonka in a lot of ways, which was actually one of the nicer fragrances from the Amen line of yore. I mean, it's not Pure Havana or Pure Malt, but who cares? So yeah, Pure Tonka-ish. It's chocolatey. It's a compliment puller. It smells amazing during the cool weather. Just a really great bang for your buck. And yeah, like I said, I'm just glad that it's back. Number 6, NFVB16 says, I have to say, Invictus Parfum is really doing it for me. Reminiscent of the OG, yet more refined and grown up. I agree. The original Invictus, not really my thing, you know? But Invictus Parfum, even though it's similar to the original Invictus, is my thing. It has a nice soapiness to it. It's not as bubblegummy sweet, but it still has that Invictus DNA, that flair to it. It's got good performance, you know, it's gonna get you noticed. It's got good versatility, spring, fall, winter, maybe summer evenings as well. Kind of similar to Invictus Legend in some ways also. And just as far as the fragrances that you can buy nowadays that still have that original Invictus style, this is my favorite. And what I mean by that is Invictus Victory, Invictus Victory Elixir, those don't really smell like Invictus, right? If you're comparing it to the original, this one does. Number 5, Eden BRZ95 says, honestly, I love the 2024 release of Armani Code Eau de Parfum. It smells a lot like Profumo, but made more modern. It's such an amazing scent. Yes, I agree. Should be like Jack Nicholson in that one GIF. It's like, yes. I really dig this. Now, I still miss Absolu, Code Absolu. I miss Code Profumo even, but this is gonna scratch that Code Profumo itch. It brings Code Eau de Parfum more in line with how Profumo smelled. As he said, maybe a little more modern in the sense that it's not as aggressively kind of spicy sweet off the top. It's a little bit classier maybe, but it still does things in a really similar way, just like that Code. Big compliment puller. Another one more for fall and winter time, but I think you could pull this off in spring also. Just really darn good. Unfortunately, if you enjoyed Armani Code Eau de Parfum as it was, you know, in the previous original bottle style, that basically got discontinued for this. So if you really like or liked that fragrance, you may want to scoop up a couple bottles. Just make sure it's not Code Eau de Parfum in this bottle style, because that's not the same thing anymore. Also want to give a shout out to the couple guys who are hoping for better fragrances next year, who said that they didn't really find anything that clicked with them this year. That's unfortunate, that's how it goes. I'm gonna have to see how I feel this year stacked up against last year, especially with some of these things coming out toward the end of the year. I'm not sure right off the top of my head if I feel like 2024 was stronger or 2023, so I'm gonna have to do like a side by side. Next up, we have Tahane 24 in 4th place. For me, it has to be Jean Paul Gaultier's Scandal Absolu. Warm and sweet, but not too sweet. Love the chestnut in that one, and the old lady is a big fan. Yeah, it always helps when your wife, girlfriend, whoever loves the fragrance. It is not very good when you're like, oh man, this one is a stone cold killer. This is sexy, this is amazing, I smell amazing. I gotta have her check this out. And you walk up and you're like, who smells good? And then she's just like, oh, you're fucking disgusting. Get out of my face. This fragrance sucks, it's awful. You smell like trash. Go take a shower, scrub that off. Get out of my house. When they like the fragrance, makes things easier. Of course, you can try a little Stockholm syndrome and just keep wearing the fragrance until they like it. I may or may not have done that with Tom Ford Tobacco Oud years in the past. Anyway, back to Scandal Absolu. I think this is one of the best releases of the year. For me, this is one of the tops. And like I just said about having to compare this year against last year, I am gonna have to sit down here pretty soon if I can get my hands on the new Eros, after that, but sit down pretty soon and kind of figure out which fragrance is the best of the year, what are the top 10 for me personally, but this is gonna be up there. I really love the original Scandal and Scandal de Parfum. Both of those are absolutely stunning as far as having a little classy edge, but then still being very sexy. And this kind of ramps up the sexiness a little bit. Slightly sweeter than the other Scandal fragrances, less aromatic, has that touch of chestnut, like you said. It's absolutely amazing. Fantastic release. Great performance. Another fall wintertime fragrance. I mean, honestly, when you look here, most of these are fall wintertime type scents. And like I said, one of my favorites of the year. So top 4, yeah, all day. Number 3 is from Tony P15. And this one was a big surprise for me, and I actually saw a number of people commenting this one. And they were saying, oh, I checked this one out recently, I love it. And it was getting a lot more love than it did originally when it first dropped. Anyway, he says, I think Eros Energy is a great release. Not everybody is going to like it being a citrus nuke, but it's my jam and I find it perfect for summer and going to the gym. So when Eros Energy first dropped, it got hated on a pretty good amount. A lot of people were like, oh, this kind of sucks. It's not that good. It's an Invictus ripoff. It's, generic. It's whatever. And I actually loved it when it first came out. Again, my wife loves it too, so that does help. And I'm a big fan in general of very citrus forward openings, especially when they have like a little natural touch to them. And by natural, I mean like a little rindiness. That's what I mean when I say that. So you're getting kind of a multifaceted citrus. Instead of only sweet, like sugary sweet, you get like a little tartness in there, a little sour and sweet, basically. So fragrances like Light Blue Forever, Light Blue Italian Love, Terre de Mezzo Givre, stuff like that, I really enjoy the openings. And this one has an opening kind of like that, very citrus forward. Now what that means though, is if you hate fragrances like that, you are not gonna like this. You're not gonna dig that opening, most likely. Does this smell super close to a Ventus? I wouldn't say that this is a replacement for a Ventus or anything like that. In the opening, maybe there's like a little similarity to the opening of a Ventus cologne a little bit, but it's not a replacement. And my general thoughts on this is that as more people smelled it, they would like it for being an affordable summertime fragrance that's very citrus forward. So I'm glad to see that more people are enjoying it. Again, I know a lot of people are not. A lot of people still, if that citrus doesn't work for you, it just doesn't work for you. And there's nothing wrong with that. I know for a fact, Light Blue Forever, some people despise the way that smells in the opening. But there it is, Eros Energy, top 3. Got a lot of upvotes there and a lot of people mentioning it. Number 2, Daniel the Cool Man, 3579. That's a good name. Daniel the Cool Man. Well, he says it, it's gotta be true. And he wrote us a nice long one here. Jean Paul Gaultier, Le Beau, Paradise Garden. That one was a banger and a half. It had quite a bit going on as well. I found it interesting that your fragrance Edgewater which also was a banger, but going on, has slight similarities to Paradise Garden, despite yours releasing first. Both of them had that like fizzy coconut water milk vibe in parts of the fragrances, and had a fig-ish vibe, but obviously not exact copies of each other. I haven't tried the Guerlain Parfums, but I bet some of them would have been the best of the year as well. There's a lot to unpack there. So the fragrance he's talking about is this one, Edgewater. It's a fragrance I creatively directed and was released underneath the Michael Malone brand. Also have these ones over here, which is South Slope, West Loop, Jet Black Enigma, and Terra Nova. Terra Nova was actually nominated for Fragrance of the Year last year. I lost, but it was nominated. Yeah. And you can find these every Perfumania, every fragrance outlet store in the United States. You can find them at Nordstrom.com. You can find them at Michael Malone's website, which is also linked below. But yeah, Edgewater did come out before Paradise Garden. Personally, I don't think they're super similar. I appreciate the comparison because Paradise Garden smells friggin' amazing. But I think that Edgewater is more like green, kind of aromatic, not as sweet, probably a little classier, but as far as like, you know, attention grabbing, compliment getting, spring, summertime stuff, I think Paradise Garden is better for that. Edgewater does have a lot going on, so that's very true. It does have fig-alide, so there is like a fig kind of vibe there. That's also true. Note breakdown is kind of intense on it. It's one of those things where you know, there's the dumbing down of note breakdowns with like 3 notes, and I was like, let's go the opposite direction. I'll read some notes off for you. This is for Edgewater. Apple, bergamot, black pepper, cardamom, cinnamon, grapefruit, peppermint in the top, fig, lavender, sage, timur, pepper, petitgrain, saffron in the mid, tobacco, sandalwood, heliotrope, cedar, patchouli, vanilla, tonka in the base. Like I said, there's a lot going on. Pressurized atomizer. That is very fizzy green, but also more leafy. And like I said, not as creamy sweet as this one. But again, thank you, Daniel, the cool man. Thank you so much, brother, for the support. Paradise Garden, I do love this. This was one of the first fragrances that came out this year. Really grabbed my attention. Still think it's one of the best. And Le Beau in general, just a great line. And number 1, which actually was pretty clearly number 1. All true, especially the lies, made this comment. That's another good one. Boss Bottled Absolu. This is by far the best that came out this year. It's a niche quality release in a designer bottle. And this is a banger. I love Boss Bottled Absolu. That is some stuff. Top-notch quality. Another fall winter scent. I mean, we had a couple for spring summer right here, but yeah, fall winter really showing out. A little bit like an evolution of bottled elixir. Not as woody spicy. A little bit sweeter, but darker. Very deep, has a chocolatey vibe to it. I've said a couple times, it reminds me vaguely of like pipe tobacco, even though that's not a note. Some people pick up on that, some people don't. It's just kind of how the fragrance hits you, what it makes you think of. Just really, really amazing quality. Again, great performance with this one. Very classy, sexy. It's one of the best for me. I'm like walking off here, but it's one of the best for me. And I would say you guys did a banging job as far as like how this is ranked out, because I could even just say like, this is my list. Yeah, I'd feel okay with that. Now, when I actually sit down and move things around, maybe, you know, it's gonna be slightly different, but when I do my list of like what I feel are the best, it might look kind of similar to this. So there we go, guys. There are your choices for best fragrance release of 2024. Let me know if you think it was a good year, bad year, average year. After I sit down and kind of do some contrasting and comparing, I'll see which year I think has been the best so far of this decade. This definitely is not the worst, I can tell you that much. Thank you all so much for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. Thank you everybody who took part in this, and I will see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.